Okay, so here's a quick demo of a trigger. What we've got here is a trigger that is going to live on the student table. I'm going to run it real quickly, and then I'll show you over here that when I ran it, I created a trigger called student before update, and it lives over here on the student table. So this thing is a part of a table, and a table can have before update, before insert, and so on triggers. It has several different triggers on it. So what does this trigger do? Well, it's a before update trigger on the student table. That means when we attempt an update, like this statement right here that tries to change or set the sex to male on 3 different students, that as each of those rows is processed 5, 7, and then 9, this trigger is invoked once for each row being updated. And as the trigger begins to execute, this new clause here allows you to access the data coming in that is trying to update the table. This is the value. In this case, it would be the word male, all in lowercase. So new.sex gives you the value coming in to be updated in the table, and all this does is translate it into uppercase. Now, when the trigger completes, then the changed value for sex, though it's been translated to uppercase, is used to actually update the row in the table. So this is called a before update trigger because it executes before the row is actually updated in the database. I've got a noisy blue jay out the window here. The before update, before update means it's a before update, before you actually update the table. The name is a standard form, which you say student underscore before underscore update to just make it clear what you're looking at. And then finally, this clause here for each row means that when you're updating multiple rows in a single update statement like this is, it will apply this trigger separately for each row before that row in the table is actually updated. So the purpose of a before update trigger basically is to give you a chance to enforce rules. And in this case, there's a business rule that says sex should always be spelled in uppercase, and this trigger makes sure it happens. If it happened to be spelled in uppercase in the first place, that's fine. This wouldn't change anything. But if it's spelled in lowercase like this, then it will turn up in uppercase. Let's go ahead and run it. Here's our update statement, and here's the select statement, and you can see that they all have male spelled in uppercase on them, even though they were spelled as lowercase on the way in. So it just lets you enforce rules, and one of the important things about triggers is once you set up a trigger on a database to enforce a rule like this, no programmer can get around the trigger. You can't say, I'm doing an update on the table, but don't run that trigger. The trigger will run, and it's a part of a basic rule now that enforces how the data in the table will look.